Ja, då har vi med oss Fernando på 2CureX och han kommer att presentera bolaget. Varsågod. Go ahead, Fernando.
Thank you. Starting with something that you're all familiar with, which are the forward-looking statements and the disclaimer. What I'm going to be talking about today is drug sensitivity testing and how this new concept can transform oncology practice in a deep way and in a sustained way over the next years. In a nutshell, for those of you who are not familiar with 2CureX, we have a technology platform and a family of diagnostic tests called IndiTreat that predict individual response to drugs in cancer patients. With this test, the oncologist is able to select what is the better therapy for each individual patient. And therefore, our aim is to, through this, improve the patient outcomes, the response to the treatment, avoid unnecessary side effects that come when an unsuitable treatment is being used, and reducing the cost for the healthcare system. Our tests are based on proprietary technologies. These proprietary technologies cover both fields of biology, but also of data science. I will speak about this later. And we have nowadays 2 tests that are in commercial phase being rolled out throughout Europe, both for metastatic colorectal cancer patients. These tests are being rolled out in the form of a centralized service. So in other words, we receive the samples in our central lab in Copenhagen, and then we run the test in our central lab, and we deliver back the result to the requesting hospitals. We have additional tests under development. We have our tests clinically validated. The components that we use for the test are CE marked. And we have commercial partnerships already in 14 European countries. With this, we have approximately 142,000 new colorectal cancer cases every year covered. Our technology is now applied to colorectal cancer, but it can also be applied to other cancer entities. For those of you who are familiar and have followed 2CureX for some years, you will have noticed that 2021 was a year of fast development in many areas. Basically, in a summary, we launched the first 2 IndiTreat tests, IndiTreat Start, which is for metastatic colorectal cancer patients who are facing their first line of treatment, and IndiTreat Extend, which is for patients on the 3rd line of treatment. We have published the results of our clinical trial. We have expanded our geographic presence from 6 to 14 countries. We achieved ISO 13485 certification. We strengthened our commercial operations. We brought in experienced and successful VPs for business development and for marketing. We also strengthened our overall diagnostics industry knowledge. I joined the company back in February, 1 year ago now, and there was a new CFO who was also coming from the industry. We received the first commercial order actually in the last days of the year. We assembled a new advisory board with world global leaders in gastrointestinal cancers, and we launched an early access program, which we call Ignite, and enrolled the first hospitals to it. All of this happened in 2021. For those of you who are new to 2CureX, just a reminder of what we are talking about here. What is the issue at stake? And it is about the efficient use of cancer drugs. On the one side, we have the economic considerations of cancer. And just enough to say that in 2020, the expenditure in cancer drugs was over $206 billion. And the expenditure in diagnostic tests was above $18 billion. But the other side of the story is the clinical considerations. And here we have to say that, unfortunately, all this money that is being spent in cancer does not reflect in an outcome of patients as it should. And one of the reasons for that is that more than 70% of these treatments are actually given blindly. Most of 70% of the treatments are given based on one-size-fits-all approaches, where there is no tool to indicate which patient will respond to which treatment. The other 20%, the other 30% approximately of treatments actually have a molecular biomarker, but the efficacy of these molecular biomarkers is also very limited, so that only 1/3 of those actually see a benefit or the expected benefit from the drug, while 2/3 do not. We put that in numbers. 6.8 million new cases per year of advanced or metastatic colorectal cancer. Those are the treatments that are actually treated with drugs. 5 million out of that follow this, call it like this, trial and error approach, where a treatment is given, and then if it works, it is maintained. If it doesn't work, then it is changed to something else. IndiTreat, our test, can provide guidance where conventional biomarkers are not available. It can provide guidance in all these cases about which treatments could work well for which patients. And then in the side of treatments where there is actually a biomarker, IndiTreat can complement the conventional biomarkers and improve the prediction of treatment response. So that's our value proposition, and the vision that we have is to bring the benefits of precision oncology to all cancer patients. How are we bringing our product to the market? Through distribution agreements all over Europe. So we initially, at the beginning of last year, we prioritized the countries according to market size and complexity of market access. Just a reminder here that there is no such thing as a European unified market access entry point. Every country has its own specificities about which technologies are brought in and how they are brought in. Therefore, it is crucial that we have local distributors, local people who are knowledgeable, are well introduced in the different healthcare systems, and can bring the product into clinical routine. Therefore, we were looking for distributors who are established in vitro diagnostics companies, complementary products, and strong presence in all hospitals. Currently, we have, as I said before, distribution agreements in 14 countries. Distributors are promoting our IndiTreat Start and IndiTreat Extend, and their priority is to push our IndiTreat evaluation program, this IGNITE program, that offers hospitals the possibility to test IndiTreat in their internal environment. It's kind of a seeding program where they have access, easy access to the test, and then when they have proven to themselves that the test is providing value for their clinical practice, then they move to working with it in routine. The fact that we have been able to roll out from 6 to 14 countries in just 5 months shows the strong interest from distributors in our technology. What is this technology? How does it look like in terms of the process? Basically, the starting point is typically a needle biopsy from a liver metastasis. In colorectal cancer, this is where metastases typically travel or grow. And then we receive this biopsy, and with this, we generate, in our labs, we generate hundreds, sometimes thousands of small replicas, three-dimensional replicas of the original tumor. This is called, we call these tumoroids, and we do this with a proprietary technology. And then each of these tumoroids actually replicate the original tumor. So what we do is we expose the different tumoroids to drugs and drug combinations that the oncologists have available for them. So that's the choice, that's the decision that the oncology needs to make, which of these drugs to use, in which sequence, etc. What we do when we apply this to the tumoroids is what we see here in the central picture. You see in the upper side, you see the evolution of a tumoroid when it goes untreated. So you see how the tumoroid grows. And then what you see in the bottom is when the tumor is sensitive to one of the drugs that we are testing, this is what it looks like. So it stabilizes, sometimes it shrinks. Now, importantly, this assessment of whether a tumoroid is growing or not, how much it is growing, etc., is done through our own proprietary image analysis system powered with machine learning. So that's the other part of our proprietary technology. And then with this, we provide a report to the oncologist saying, okay, this is the level of sensitivity of this patient to the different drugs. How has this been validated clinically? We ran over the last 3.5 years. The results came up at the beginning of 2021. Our clinical partner, Hospital Vejle, University Hospital Vejle in Denmark, has run over 3 years a prospective interventional trial where IndiTreat was used to guide the treatment of metastatic colorectal cancer patients. And the benchmark was that in this type of patients, typically with the standard of care, after 8 weeks of treatment, 20% of them see the tumor stabilized, not growing anymore, but 80% still see the tumor growing. So the goal of the study, the endpoint of the study was, can we double the percentage of patients who stabilize their disease after 8 weeks from 20% to 40%? The actual outcome was that when the treatment is guided with IndiTreat, 50% of the patients showed a stable disease. And this is what is outstanding about this is we are not talking about a new drug. We are talking about the same drugs just applied in the right to the right patient, just matching the right drug to the right patient. And only by this matching, we increase this percentage of stable disease from 20% to 50%. What we are doing now in 2022, what are the key metrics of our rollout, is we are bringing, I said before, we have now IndiTreat activities in 14 countries. We are planning to have this increase to 20 countries within 2022. 30 hospitals using IndiTreat in routine. And we have now 2 products in our portfolio. We want to end the year 2022 with a 3rd product in our portfolio. Beyond 2022, what are the vectors of growth for 2cureX? Basically 3 vectors of growth. The geographic expansion beyond Europe. There are opportunities for bringing the technology all over the world. The portfolio expansion beyond colorectal cancer. We will, and we are already developing the technology to be used in other gastrointestinal cancers, for example, pancreatic, but also in gynecological cancers, for example, ovarian and others. And then the 3rd vector of growth for the future is to develop an instrument and reagents and software that can automate the process that we are doing today in our labs in Copenhagen. And therefore, instead of selling the service as we are doing today, we could actually become a system, a product selling company. So with this, the executive summary is first, there is a real need, there is an urgent need to improve the way how drugs are used today in cancer treatment. The current model is not sustainable from an economic point of view, and from a medical point of view is not effective. We think that drug sensitivity testing is the way to go. It's the tool that is emerging to address this, and 2cureX is best positioned to lead this space because we have a proven and mature technology called IndiTreat, which is IP protected in major countries. We have a team with experience bringing new technologies to the oncology market. We have 2 tests already in clinical routine with a pipeline in development. We have a solid plan to roll out in Europe through local partnerships. And we have, internally, we have the processes and the structure to scale up our operations, our labs, our logistics, etc. Further, we have a solid financial position that allows us to address our plan and our goals until break even. We have multiple pathways for long-term sustained growth. So we think, let's say, the risk-reward profile of a company like 2cureX is attractive. And with this finalizes my presentation, my short presentation, and then probably now I think we are going to Q&A part.
Yes, we are back in the studio, and Fernando, I have some questions. you have been busy with the rollout, and you have a lot of distributors now. And the next step is orders. Can you tell us what we can expect from 2cureX during this year?
Yes. Well, first, what you can expect is, as I said, that we will continue to expand geographically. So moving from these 14 countries to the 20 countries, which is our goal at the end of 2022. But then, obviously, in each of these countries, what is happening now is that our distributors, our commercial partners, together with us, are visiting already systematically all the target hospitals that could be customers of IndiTreat or users of IndiTreat, and we are offering the test, and we are discussing now one by one the conditions under which they could use this test. So what you can expect is a significant number of hospitals. Actually, I mentioned already 30 hospitals who, at the end of the year, will be sending samples routinely, not a one-time thing, but routinely sending samples to us, and this sample inflow will turn, of course, into a revenue flow.
That sounds perfect. Recently, you received a new investor called Cambridge Capital. Can you tell us something about this investor?
Yes, so this this was a private deal between two shareholders, an old one and a new one. But the fund, which is called Cambridge Novus Nordic, which is managed by Cambridge Capital, is a Swedish fund, and they are investing in Nordic companies who are in the growth phase already, and their investments are always let's say with a mid to long term perspective. Therefore, we felt very comforted that a fund like this actually was interested in getting a share in 2cureX.
I know, and we have been spoken about this before, that there will be new rules implemented. It's called the In Vitro Diagnostic Medical Devices Regulation. How will this affect your business, Andreu?
Well, obviously, the transition from the current IVD directive to the IVD regulation raises the bar in terms of what is needed to bring a new product in the market and to keep a new product in the market. So the current situation is that in May 26, 2022, there is the new regulation comes into place. Importantly, the products that are already in the market can stay in the market. There is a period of 3 years until these products have to transition to the new IVDR. But then all the new products that are launched after May 2022 will have to comply with the new regulation. What we are doing now is we are focusing very much in having as many products as possible in the market before May, so that we go into this transition period of 3 years with as many products as possible. And then, of course, we have already developed our own internal processes, etc., so that the products that we launch after May will be already compliant. It is about the clinical validation. It is about post-market surveillance, and it is about number of internal processes to guarantee the safety of the product. So we think we are in a good position, but of course, the effect this has, not for us but for the whole industry, is that the speed at which new products will come to the market is going to be slower than it used to be. But again, this is an industry-wide thing, not a company specific.
Yes, thank you. And Fernando, we thank you for the presentation, and we hope that the orders will come during this year then.